Okay, folks, it's your buddy Mike Messier. Let's do a Mike's Instant Movie Review. Priscilla, the queen of the king, Elvis Presley's bride, child bride, you might say, which has explored a tinge. So that's controversial. You know, I kind of did something I normally don't do. I watched an interview with the actual Priscilla Presley with Piers Morgan, such a sophisticate. And, you know, basically I kind of forgot, but yeah, I think it was about a year ago that Lisa Marie, Elvis's daughter, passed away at a young age. I think just hours after the movie Elvis last year won some type of award. Interesting that a movie a year ago, Elvis, such a high edited, loud, exciting movie Elvis was last year. This movie is really an interesting inverse. I don't think they used any Elvis music in this movie. I think they used other music of the eras presented. They used a really, spoiler, they used a nice Dolly Parton, her original version of I Will Always Love You as the end. I thought that was very poignant. But it did feel like this movie went out of its way to kind of be much different than the Elvis film, because this was like the behind the scenes stuff. We do see some, obviously it's about Priscilla, her point of view, but of course Elvis is why we're here. Let's be honest. It's not about the years that Priscilla, after she had divorced, it's not about Priscilla doing the fucking Naked Gun movies, okay? Or whoever else she's had romance with after Elvis. It's about her Elvis years, her young years. And that might be the problem initially, but it's a reality. 14 years old when she's first wooed by Elvis on the German military base. Yes, it was a different time. And I think that's one thing that, Piers Morgan was trying to ask good old real Priscilla about. In this day and age, 2023, moving into 2024, a famous, well, what the fuck? Was it Aaliyah 20 years ago? Rest in peace, that she had an older man. Was that R. Kelly? I'm trying to be hip with all these references. So you do see some of this stuff. But that, I don't know. Could you pull that off now, or would you want to? Probably not. And Elvis and Priscilla probably not these days either. But wasn't it Jerry Lee Lewis that married his 14-year-old cousin? So Elvis, I think he waited, I guess, till Lisa, fucking Priscilla was 17. I'm not sure when she got pregnant with Lisa Marie, maybe 18 or 19. But you do see Lisa, God, I'm getting the names mixed up. You do see Priscilla kind of becoming the queen of this kingdom that is Graceland. She kind of fills the void somewhat of Elvis's mother, Grace, I guess, who passed away before Elvis met Priscilla. I think what I learned, I don't know if I learned anything, but the perspective of this whole movie, one part of it that I think people forget, or at least I do, with Elvis, and I do enjoy his music and the concerts and so forth. I'm not a fanatic of Elvis, but I do enjoy Elvis's stuff. The guy was a pill popper. Let's be honest, okay? This movie kind of illustrates that. He's also pushing some of these pills on a young Priscilla. Even I think on their first date or their first encounter, he's putting a pill in her hand for her to stay awake in school, which was the fucking 9th grade. So, depending on how you see these things, but as Priscilla explained in her interview, this was, 1960. So things were different. People were experimenting with drugs and sex and all these wonderful things. So it's just cultural differences. So when you try to put today's framework of ethics and morality and legality on the past, it's not always a perfect fit. Okay, folks? And that's the other thing with this type of thing. Look, I was the only one in the theater for this. I had seen a previous movie tonight. I saw a double header. I saw Thanksgiving. That movie had a pretty big crowd. I go to see the Priscilla movie. I'm the only one in the theater. So I'm telling you, maybe this thing, and that could be a remote situation, but I don't know if it could be a thing where as the years go by, topics, things that we used to think people would care about forever, Elvis, like maybe that was a bigger deal 20 or 30 years ago than it is now. As you get further and further away, does the asshole kid who listens to fucking Taylor Swift or One Direction or whoever the fuck else, is that kid going to give a flying fuck about Priscilla? And the person that probably does give a flying shit about Priscilla, are they going to leave the comfort of their couch and their Netflix and chill to actually go to a movie theater and see a movie? Hence lies the rub. So this movie might do quite fine as far as home viewings. But the generation, the baby boomers and perhaps the youngsters of Generation X and so forth, the people that would give a flying fuck about Priscilla and her movie, are they going to come to the theater and pay money to see it? I kind of feel not, because just based on my little experience here, okay? As you get further and further away from these iconic things, people give a shit less and less. That's just how things work, okay? I'm sure there was something that happened in 1955 or 1890 that was a big deal at the time. You know what I mean? Like Charlie Chaplin slipped on a banana peel and everybody gave a shit for a week back in 1926, but now nobody does. That's just how things operate. The time keeps moving. So with this, I don't know. I enjoyed the movie. It moved at a slower pace. I mean, definitely a counter to the... I'm suffering from tooth pain right now, by the way, in case you're wondering. But yeah, so the movie moves at a slow pace. It's just it's a totally different movie than the Elvis movie. You see things from Priscilla's point of view. She was kind of, what is it, the expression? The bird in the gilded cage. You know what I mean? Like Elvis basically wants her to be home with the home fires as he's out caravanting in Vegas. He wants to do what he wants, but he wants his little woman at home with the little puppy and the daughter and so forth. So, but you know what? I mean, for her part, Priscilla's part, she was very pushing this whole thing too. Once she got a taste of Elvis, so to speak, she kept coming back for more. And she basically pouted and pouted until her parents let her do what she wanted with him. And, according to other sources or whatever the fuck, there were other young women that Elvis... I watched something on YouTube. Elvis had all these 14-year-old women that he was interested in. So if it wasn't Priscilla, it would have been another one of them that he would have made his child bride, apparently. So what can you say? Does that diminish the music? Does that diminish the icon? I don't know. I really don't. I mean, you try to get into these whole fucking debates, but then the reality is, from Priscilla's point of view, and who's the filmmaker? Sofia Coppola. It's still like the princess of the queen of the kingdom. As these, this whole thing is, grooming and sicko and all this shit. And why do these men want these younger women? Well, you go and glorify it because according to this movie, she's the goddamn princess of the fairyland, okay? She's the princess of the Memphis Mafia. Now, I could have been mistaken. I thought somewhere along my readings on Elvis, I thought there was some situation where one of Elvis's friends had pursued Priscilla and perhaps been aggressive with Priscilla. I thought that was a story that I heard once upon a time. That was not in this film. I think that would have been significant, but maybe I'm just making that up in my own imagination. But I thought there was something like that. Also, there's kind of a little illusion here that makes it seem like Priscilla... I don't know if this guy was supposed to be Bruce Lee or just some rando martial arts instructor, but there's just two quick back-to-back scenes of Priscilla learning martial arts, and she's kind of getting a little fluster-faced with her martial arts instructor, and I wasn't clear if that was supposed to be Bruce Lee or just some rando. And it kind of feels like she's been fucked by the martial arts instructor, or had an affair, if you want to be fucking polite. So they didn't really get their fingernails dirty with that. Once again, Priscilla Presley, the real one. Of course, she's kept the last name Presley, by the way. But she hasn't... she deserved that last name. But she hasn't... I don't know. They didn't get her fingernails dirty, is what I'm saying, okay? So whenever you have the subject matter kind of executive producing a film, they're always going to shine the shit nicely on them. Was this a good movie? Yes. The two main actors, the Priscilla actress, I'd never seen her before, not that I remember. Quite lovely and quite convincing, because she basically, I think, played like a span of 13 to 14 years in this thing, from when she was a 14-year-old girl to when she leaves Elvis, which I want to say was like a 14-year span, something like that. Maybe a 17-year span. So, I mean, she did quite well. And the fashions, they did a nice job with the hair and makeup, making her look, you know, not that she got old, but she aged like everybody else. And also the guy that played Elvis thought I did a good job. They didn't really make him fat for his, you know, final years there. They didn't fatten him up. He was a tall, lanky guy, but I think he played the Elvis, you know, the off-camera, kind of drugged out, almost shy, kind of perverse, mood swing Elvis. Didn't realize that, you know, according to this movie, he's throwing like a chair at fucking Priscilla's head. He has these little outbursts of rage. At times he's jealous. At times he's fucked up. I thought the actor, whoever he is, did a nice job. The guy playing, I think in this one, if I'm not mistaken, you saw more of the Vernon, the father character, who Elvis put in charge of his books. Didn't do a hell of a good job, okay? But I don't think they had a Colonel Tom in this thing, unless I'm confusing the Colonel Tom and the fucking Vernon, but it seemed like Colonel Tom was absentee, maybe for the best, after we saw the Tom Hanks, you know, which I didn't think was that bad. I didn't think Tom Hanks did a horrible job as Colonel Tom. I just think the Colonel was kind of an interesting oddball of a character. What else? I don't know. Was it an enjoyable film? Yes. I mean, it was a good watch. I don't know if my life has changed. I'll give it 3.5 stars. I think for the material that they had, they did the best they could. But like I said, I think this is going to be a tough sell. I think we've kind of reached this point, no offense, fucking Priscilla, but I think that the pop culture, you know, world has moved on, okay? I don't think the kids give a flying fuck. And I think the people that do care don't go to the movies anymore. Like that generation of people who would give a flying shit about Priscilla and her movie aren't going to buy a ticket. They're going to sit home and if it comes on TV or if it comes on Netflix, they might watch it or they might not. Or they might pull the routine of, oh yeah, I want to go see that, and then they won't go see it. I mean, you just go around the circles with these assholes. People that say they want to see a movie, but they never see it. People that say they're going to do something and they never do it. And then you just kind of realize they're not going to do what they say. They're not going to see what they say they're going to see. They're not going to read my goddamn books like they say they're going to. So you just give up on people because they have no value. Okay, folks, that's it. Merry fucking Thanksgiving. It's your buddy Mike Messier, MikeMessier.com. Buy my books. Subscribe to all my channels. Like all the things that I do. Follow me on all the social medias. MikeMessier.com. Scroll to the bottom. Stand me on social.